Hello, everybody. How's everything going? I have my lady Tawana. You got something going on in the background. Can you cut it off, Tawana?
Hold
Yeah,
on. Think the sound might be a little too loud.
right. I mean, we live now, so
What about now?
uh, I can't hear it, so the echo is gone.
Okay.
Okay. So today we bringing Tawana back. This is part two of Power Over Pain, and today we're gonna talk about the video where she was incarcerated. And she's going to go into and explain what happened. Um, and the video is out here. It's on YouTube. Brutally in Greensboro. That's the name of it. So we're going to play it. And then we're going to come back and let her talk about what happened. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about what was that?
What was that? That was a mess. That's what it was. Um,
Okay.
if I may break down what happened that night, you know, in the video, somebody asked me, was he choking you? And I said allegedly, because I have to keep what I say to, non-specifics, because I don't have a gag order. So that should tell you something right there. If it wasn't true, what I'm about to tell y'all, I would have a gag order. This video would had to be taken down off YouTube. So what happened was, I'm a singer, of course. I had just came from the studio, music studio recording, and I was home about an hour, and my children's father said somebody's at the door for you. He was like, crime van is outside. I said, crime van. I'm back there just listening to what I did in the studio and trying to figure out what I can do better. And he was like, well, the person want to talk to you. And I'm like, crime van? Why is crime van up here? So I had a Suburban at the time that had some mini dents in it, just wear and tear and, bump here and a bump there. And so the gentleman that was with Crime Van saying, oh, we heard this car might be was in a hit and run. And I go, huh? I'm like, Scooby-Doo, huh? And I'm like, sir, I've been home for an hour, went to the studio, came straight home. So at this time, I'm like in an open investigation, I guess you could call it, for a hit and run. So while this man is basically interrogating me, the police pulled up, asked me my name and ran my name, and I forgot to go to court for a traffic charge. People ask me, it's very insulting to ask somebody that's been brutalized by government official, such as, it's very inconsiderate to ask a person, what did you do? Because in these days and times, you don't have to do anything. So basically, I told the officer, I said, oh, okay, I forgot to go to court for a traffic charge. I know I got to go downtown. Boom. So we get downtown, we get in the elevator, as you can see. Me and the officer that was facing me, if you go back and look at the video, you can see this man is actually facing me. And you can see the officer with the white gloves on. When the elevator door opens, he tells me to come on out. I'm coming on out. Next thing I know, my head is slammed into the steel elevator wall.
Okay, but allegedly, when they came to your home, what did they say you done? What made them knock on your door?
Well, crime lab van was already up there. So I don't know if when crime lab van come up, that give them a buzzer that, okay, something's going on, you need to show up at this house. So these were two different departments, I guess you could say.
Okay, so when they knocked on the door and you came to the door, what did they say? What did they allege that you had done?
Which person? Crime van.
The purpose of them knocking on your door.
The officer. Okay, so the officer came to. Actually, he didn't come to the door. The crime lab guy, whatever you want to call him, came up, and I had already came outside. I was already outside when the police pulled up. So the police asked me my name. Of course, I gave him my name, and he ran. He was like, "Oh, you got a failure to appear for." And I said, "For what?" He said, "Traffic court." I said, "You know what, officer? You're correct. We didn't have I said, "Officer, you're correct. I do. I forgot to go to court." And I'm like, "I know I got to go down there because it's a failure to appear." So that's how that happened.
Okay, but what was the purpose of them knocking on your door? Did they say you did a hit and run, or?
Yeah, the crime lab van, whomever the investigator was, he showed up at my door. And actually, him and the police started getting into it because this man still wanted to interrogate me about a hit and run, and the police was ready to go. And they kind of got into it too. And I'm like, what is really happening here? So it really started. The crime lab detective is actually the person that knocked on my door.
Correct. So he knocked on your door because allegedly he thought you was in a hit and run. And
yes, he said, and from what I remember, my children's father saying, he said, "Who is driving this vehicle?" And he began to interrogate me. "Where do you keep your keys?" And I'm like, "What is really going on here? Who drives your car?" "Nobody, sir." It's like, wow, is this really, really happening? So I had to deal with two of them, in one night.
Mm-hmm.
I got to jail. That was another department. So correct. I said, "Sir, listen, my car has already been dinged up and banged up a little bit. I've had my car for a very long time. I think I got my car in 2004, and it was 5 years later." And so it came back. My insurance company said, "Absolutely, we're not paying this. There's no proof." And they went on about their business, and whomever went about their business.
But now you're downtown because you had a failure to appear.
Correct.
And when you went into the police station, because they had you, did they handcuff you and take you in, or?
Yeah, I was handcuffed. That's another story. Actually, I got some charges by the police department because he had my handcuffs on so tight that my skin was sticking up in the air. So me and him going for it, we going word for word, and he charged me with I don't remember the exact charge. If I come back again, I have it in my files, but I want to say disturbing the peace, but that actually was dropped. I had two charges. I think I called him a name. I was very upset. I called him a name, and he put that down, and I got charged for that, which was eventually dismissed. They drove me to court for 9 months, by the way, with a severe brain injury.
So what made them? We can see on the video. Looks like about 4 officers standing there, and then we see you standing there, uh, the young lady in the video. And what made it's like everybody jumped on you at one time.
Well, if you look at it, look like they came to me, allegedly to me. It looked like they came in there to do something because you can see they got their hands in front of their, it's just their stance, and I didn't feel comfortable. So I asked the officer, the one that attacked me, where is the female? Because from my knowledge, I thought that female transport female and male transport males, and he said you're the criminal, and I said for real for a traffic charge, and I said what happened to being not guilty until proven guilty. And me and him got into each other with words. So, I never knew that words would make somebody do something like that. It's just, I was like, what happened to sticks and stones may hurt my bones?
I don't know if that works when they get you downtown, but
nah, I don't think so either. So, as the officer with the white gloves on, told me to come out, I was going out. If you look at the video again, if you get to that part, look at the video again, I'm doing exactly what that officer told me to do.
Yeah, because the first thing
I don't even think that officer that attacked me, I think he was so lost in the moment that he didn't even know what was going on around him, allegedly, because if the officer told me to come out and I'm coming out, I guess he thought I was trying to attack him. And everybody that know me, they know I'm not a fighter. I'm always like, looking out for people, encouraging people.
Yeah, because the first thing people gonna say is that she didn't comply. That's one of their things of saying, well, she didn't comply, and that's why they attacked her.
I did comply. If you look at the video, I was complying to the officer standing behind him. That's why I don't think he was. I think he was so heated up in the moment. I don't even think that he understood what was going on at that point in time, and I don't know.
So allegedly, you're standing there, they're standing there, and then they just all grab you at one time. Well, I can see the 2 officers and then 2 behind them. So it's basically.
Well, it happened so quick. When that one officer grabbed me, he actually slammed my head against the steel elevator wall. But you can't see it because the camera. They know where the camera is at.
Correct.
Yeah, it's under the camera.
And so they slammed your head up against the steel wall in the elevator.
Yes.
And what did he say he did that for?
He didn't say he did it for any reason. Because at that point, I'm hurt. They got me in a corner and I'm hurt at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, after they got me out, from against the wall, like somebody said, was he choking you? And I'm only gonna say allegedly he was choking me because I don't want no smoke. I don't like to even deal with officers. I stay far away after this. But I never knew that missing a traffic ticket would turn into somebody becoming disabled.
Well, it can turn into somebody becoming deceased when I look at Sandra Bland.
Absolutely. And I could have been Sandra Bland.
Correct. And that's why after that case hit, and it really stunned me to see that case and how they did her, and it was all over a traffic ticket.
Well, allegedly they said they didn't do anything to her.
Allegedly they did.
Yeah, allegedly they said they didn't do anything to her. But if you see the video, the female officer did show up, but it was after the fact. Everything was done. When they took me to the holding cell, I was still handcuffed for over 2.5 hours. And I'm like, why am I handcuffed? I'm in the holding cell, like I'm not gonna disappear. I have no way to get out. Why am I still handcuffed over 2.5 hours, which felt like absolute torture? And that's when I began to ask for the doctor, hospital, anybody, because I was in pain. I didn't even know the extent of the damages. All I knew was my head was hurting. And I felt like I needed to go somewhere immediately. So they got me to the nurse, and the nurse touched my forehead, which there was a bump on my head, and told me to hurry up and try to get out. That's all. That's all. I wanted to go to the hospital, but I was denied that.
Okay.
I didn't want to see a nurse.
So after he hit your head, you was in handcuffs when he hit your head.
No, I was in handcuffs after the fact.
Okay, so when they took you downtown, they put you in handcuffs. Then they took the handcuffs off.
Yeah, because the police took me down to the jail. So what happens at the jail is you're given over to the jail. Now you're with the sheriff. In this case, now I was at the sheriff's department. So
Okay.
they handcuffed me there until it was time for me to get in the elevator. I had no handcuffs on in the elevator. After the fact, after that video, that's when I was handcuffed for about 2.5 hours. I think that's what the paperwork said. And they admitted that. I have that on paperwork that, it was over 2.5 hours. That's when they handcuffed me, which seems kind of backwards to me.
Right, for them to bang your head and then handcuff you again. So that's what I'm trying to get some clarity is. So basically, when the police department handed you over to the sheriff department, that's when you were getting out the elevator. You didn't have on
No,
any.
you're actually handcuffed to a chair. And then when the magistrate call you, you get your bond, or he tell you what your bond is and your charges. Then that's when we went to the elevator. But
Okay.
the handcuff is a handcuff to the chair. It's not like a handcuff you like handcuff your hands together. If that makes sense.
Right. So they didn't have both hands behind your back. They just had you free with one hand and they just handcuffed the other one to the chair so you wouldn't leave.
Right.
And at that time, what did they allegedly say you had done? They charged you with failure to appear in court.
Failure to appear with a traffic charge, and also whatever those charges was that the officer charged me with, which I think was disorderly conduct, or either it was disturbing the peace. It was one or the other.
Okay, so that means it was an altercation at your house for them to charge you with that.
It wasn't an altercation. I called the officer name because he wouldn't unloosen my handcuffs.
Okay.
My were extremely, and when I say extremely, I'm talking about skin sticking up in the air type.
Okay. So they pretty much took you in and it was aggressive.
Right.
Okay. Then once you got there, I'm trying to get an understanding of everything that happened. Once you got there, the police department handed you over to the sheriff department, which means they took the handcuffs off. After the
Correct.
handcuffs was off, that's when they allegedly grab you and hit your head up against the steel wall of the elevator.
You ain't got to say allegedly about them slamming my head against the wall. That happened. That's not allegedly.
Okay, and then they put the handcuffs on you. The sheriff department did after they
In the
did.
hold when I got to the holding cell.
Okay, and then that's when you asked for medical care.
Correct.
And so what happened in court? Moving forward, you got a bail,
Um,
you got a bond.
can I talk about what happened when I got out?
Yes.
So, my bond wasn't but $100. I had $100 at home, but I didn't think to even bring that because the charge was so like I didn't think I was gonna get a cash bond. I really didn't. I just thought I was gonna okay, I forgot to sign come to court. I understand that, and here's another date. But what happened was I tried to call my kid's father, and we had the type of phone service we had, you couldn't call collect. So I was actually stuck there for the night. And I guess he must have called that morning and because I didn't show back up. So he came that morning to get me out. I went to the hospital, excuse me. I went to the hospital. They did a MRI and it said head injury. The head injury, I went there. This was March the 10th. I believe I went to the hospital. And I'm sorry, it's March the 11th. I went to the hospital, did the MRI, head injury. Then I went back to the hospital March the 13th because I became nauseous. And that's part of having a concussion. Then I went back um, March the 27th, March the 28th. Then I went back April the 14th. And that's when a doctor said, do not do any physical activity until cleared by your doctor. And I was like, uh-oh, I'm doing pretty bad. I can't pick up, like, lights are bothering me, noise is bothering me. I just had to lay in the room. Like, I remember these stories. I think, I don't want to say General Hospital, somebody had suffered a brain injury. And I just remember them laying up in the bed with the lights down low, and it was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. You know, my daughter, she was 8 years old. She asked me, was I going to die? It was a mess. You know, eventually I started getting some care. I was on 8 medications, accidentally overdosed twice. I was on psych ward for probably about a week. Um, it's a lot, y'all. I'm not joking. It's a lot.
Well, how did you get the psych ward at the hospital?
Because I was suicidal at the time. No, this was a little bit late on. I think this was in June. It was a little bit late on. Things weren't getting better. In fact, things were getting worse. You know, I couldn't even pick up a gallon of milk. I couldn't pick up without being in pain. My neurologist, I had got a neurologist. Let me start here. I was on the highest care that you can get, and the highest care of mental health. It's called the ACT program, and it's intensive counseling where people check on you. They come to your house 2 and 3 times a week just to make sure you're not you ain't overdosing, because all those medicines.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to the psych ward because I just, I didn't want to be here. I was suicidal just like anybody else was suicidal. I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to be in the pain anymore. I was a college student at the time. I had just started this business and made 5 figures in my first month. All that was gone. We lost our house. Lord, thank God that, the things did turn out right where we could go right to another house. But it just was a mess. It just was a mess. I couldn't take care of my children. I missed seeing my grandson born because I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Tawana. I mean, it seems like you went through a lot. And then what happened when you got to court? Did you let the judge know what had happened? Or
The court was a circus, allegedly. First of all, my lawyer did what is called a bifurcated case. Now, by this time, I got my disability, and on my disability papers, it clearly states officer slammed her head against the wall. So my lawyer was like, we can't use this. And I'm going, huh? We can't use this for evidence. He's like, we're doing a bifurcated case. And I asked him what that was. And he said, it's a 2-part case, by minute 2. And the juries are not going to know your injuries. I said, and I'm saying to myself, now I know I'm sick, but I ain't that sick to know that this is not the right. This don't feel right. It don't seem right, and I don't want to do this. So what happened was he went to talk to the judge, and the judge told me that if I didn't go through with the case, that he was going to dismiss the case. So what is a person to do?
well, you wanted to dismiss so you can get out of there.
Yeah. I had 11. Also, I want to make mention, and I just want to commend the jury. I'm not saying this because other people gonna see it different, but I don't see it different. I really think these jurors were some good people. I had 11 European jurors. Only one jury was African American. But I am not upset with the jury. In fact, I'm not even upset with the person who did this to me. I had to go through intensive counseling to forgive him. They did that. I'll say this. I had 4 questions. They answered yes to all 3, except for did he use excessive force? And they didn't say yes because they didn't have all the evidence.
Right. Mm. And so what happened next?
I lost. I lost the case. I had a $980,000 case. I lost.
Because you didn't have the evidence to prove that that's
I had the evidence. I had the evidence. I had all my medical records, all my mental health records. My mental health counselor was there. My psychiatrist said he would show up, and my lawyer said, "What do I need him for?" I had another lawyer out of Raleigh, North Carolina, who was a head injury specialist that said, "If your lawyer called me, I would do the best I can." He said, "I understand head injuries and all. He said, that's what I specialize in." My lawyer said, "What do I need him for?"
Well, where did you get this lawyer from?
This lawyer was from Greensboro. And the reason I know people gonna be like, "Well, why do you get a lawyer from out of town?" Because I was an angry. You don't understand. I was an angry person. I was very angry. I was very hurt. And so the lawyer in Raleigh, which this was the end of basically getting to the end of my time. You only got so much time to file the statute of limitations.
Mm-hmm.
The lawyer said, "Oh, I know why you're not getting any lawyers." He said, "Do you talk like this when you're talking to lawyers?" I said, "Yeah, I'm angry." He said, "That's why they're not taking you." So, when I got to this lawyer, I was like, okay, I got to calm down. I also had a prominent lawyer. And when I say prominent, y'all, I'm talking about this lawyer is deal with federal cases, top federal cases that has signed to take my case. We done signed a contract and everything. A week later, I get a letter saying they can't take my case. I don't know what that was about, but hey, everybody can guess. You can take your guess on what it was about. They came down here from Charlotte to look at the videotape, and about a week later, they said we can't take your case. I was devastated.
So it's like
I was very devastated.
It was a cover up, and nobody wanted to go against the police department.
Allegedly. I have when I got this lawyer in Charlotte, I was like, oh my God. Because they dealt with a case in Georgia where this guy was getting the death penalty, and because he had taken out an FBI agent with his own gun. And I was like, well, because they asked me, had I heard the case? And they was like, well, yeah, we did this case. And I'm like, oh, I got some good lawyers. Now I'm happy and everything. I'm not worried about anything. I'm going to my doctor's appointments. At this time, around about this time, my neurologist had said, none of my medicines was working for headaches. And she suggested to put a shunt in my brain. And I said, absolutely not. No, ma'am.
To put a what in your brain?
A shunt. It drains your brain.
Oh,
it drains the fluid out of your brain. It's called a shunt. SUNT.
So they say you was had fluid in your head.
Well, I did have some fluid in my brain. I actually had what do you call it? When they stick the needle in your back and they drain fluid. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the name. It's been so much. Yeah, when they stick the needle in your back and drain the fluid out of your brain. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, I had that happen too.
That's like an injection. Wow. So with all this, you were able to get your disability, correct?
I had to wait 2 years to get my disability, even though I had I was diagnosed with severe brain injury, severe PTSD. So, and that was horrible. Oh my God. When I tell y'all that was horrible, I'm jumping at everything. I'm jumping at everything. I'm thinking they coming to get me. I'm calling people on the phone. I remember calling people on the phone. These were some activists, and I want to say thank you to all the activists that held me up. Like, you were so amazing for this. Like, thank you. Thank you. I don't know where I would have been without the activists in this city.
Wow.
What was I talking about? Oh, I remember calling the activists, and they're trying to shoot me. They're trying to kill me. And come to find out a little after I get off the phone call, my son goes, "Mama, it's Memorial Day. Those are fireworks." That's how bad it was.
Wow.
That's like, I look back on it right now, and I said, these people got to absolutely, and I know some of them thought I was absolutely crazy. But okay, so I was diagnosed with severe brain injury, severe PTSD, severe depression, and severe anxiety. So today I battle post concussion. I'm still fighting that monster.
Yeah, because you don't know what happened or what may happen, so I can sympathize with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sorry all that took place. And hopefully some good will come out of it. Or what do you feel? Do you feel like some type of good came out of it, even though?
I was a person that say I'm not never going to counseling. I don't care what you say. I don't care who tried to make me go. I'm never going to counseling. I remember in the 90s when I lived beside a school teacher. Um, I went to her house and she had some papers. I thought she was grading the students' paperwork. She's like, "No, I'm doing some work for counseling." I told her, I said, "I'm never going to counseling." So never say never. And I stayed in 11 years. I'm about to go back, just probably just to keep my head together. But people say counseling don't work, and I'm a witness that it does work. You got to work it, and also you got to find a counselor. Like being in a relationship, if that counselor don't work, find another one because it works. It works.
Wow. Well, I'm glad some good did come out of it. I'm glad you got the counseling you needed. And I'm also
Absolutely.
glad that the medical doctors were able to do what they could to help you out, as far as treatment wise, uh,
Yes.
to get through the other side of not feeling that pain you felt
Right.
in your head.
I remember leaving out my house, and I believe this was the same week that I did go to psych ward. And
Hmm.
I said, I'm just gonna go and stand in the traffic. My plan was just to go stand in the traffic and just close my eyes and whatever comes that way. But I did have a plan. And when somebody got a plan, you need to be on the telephone calling somebody. That's one thing I learned. If I hear somebody saying, I'm get rid of myself, I'm gonna ask, do you have a plan? Because that's what I learned to ask. And if they say they don't have a plan, then they're not serious. That's what I was taught. So I
Okay.
did learn a lot.
Well, that was good. That was real good. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad
So
you came out on the other side because you're here today and you're able to talk about it, even though it was painful back then. Um,
right.
you're
And
doing
Daryl Lanier, I'm gonna say his name, Daryl Lanier. If you happen to stumble across this video, I forgive you. I'm not even mad no more. There's no need to be mad. I don't want to carry that negative energy. I hope you get the help that you need, and I hope that you can forgive yourself or have forgiven yourself. He probably don't even know that I still, go through changes behind it. Here it is, what, 11 years later, and I'm still battling post concussion.
mm, well, you'll probably have that the rest of your life.
I've come to the conclusion that's it. I mean, I went from listen, it's to the point where neurologists are turning me down. I went to do neurologists. They said, "Oh, we don't even know why you're here." And I'm looking at them like, you know why I'm here. You know, I still get nauseous. Still have panic attacks. I
Hmm.
still go through. I'm down for 3 days, sometime at a time, to get myself back together. And
Hmm.
once Duke Hospital told me that, I said, "Oh yeah, yeah, this is my life now." I mean to say Duke neurologist. Once they told me that, I was like, "Okay, this is it."
Yeah, you're gonna be in pain for the rest of your life, probably.
Yep.
Well, I'm still glad.
Just take one day at a time.
Hmm.
And I knew I couldn't come back and do this video until I really could do this video because just talking about it, like, it's a lot. So I wanted to tell y'all, after I lost the case, I filed a case of appeal indigency myself as an indigent person. And I left out one document. But um I still, at some point, if I wanted to, I could file for Supreme Court. But you know what? It's not, to me, it's not even worth going through that right now.
Correct.
I'm working on other things. I got the book. I just did a Barnes and Noble book signing Saturday. So that this past Saturday. So that was a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm just on a mission to tell, help people with mental health and encourage people to go get counseling.
Right. That's something that we need to address more of. And maybe we can do a show on that. I would love for you to come back and maybe we can discuss mental health issues because a lot of people are afraid to go and seek mental health.
Well,
Uh,
you can't help it. You that I understand why they like that because in society there's a stigma that if you go to counseling you're crazy or you're weak. So yeah, society put all this on mental health.
mhm. Well, I have a PhD in psychology, so
Absolutely
uh,
right.
yes. So
Right.
when it comes to mental health, I do tell people to seek out and get counseling because you don't know how important it is that it could really change your life uh,
Absolutely.
and get you back to where you were before, you ended up in the crisis.
I
Uh,
think a lot of people went through a lot of childhood trauma and it's coming out in their behavior as adults and they don't quite know why, or they might know why and they just don't want to seek help. But it's time, like I was so excited because I was listening to the radio yesterday and I heard Megan Thee Stallion has a website out about mental health. There's a lot of celebrities, G Herbo, Megan Thee Stallion has they're started, and I'm running to a lot of college students that are going to counseling. So this thing is growing, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited because I want people to be their best selves.
well, I appreciate you coming on today. We're going to wrap
You're
this
welcome.
up and hopefully we can come back another time and discuss another topic, possibly mental health. That's down my alley and encourage people that needs mental health to seek it. And it's okay. Uh, I think it's a stigma on mental health that a lot of people are afraid to go and get help. And not necessarily mean that something is wrong with you to seek mental health. It's
Bingo.
something going right with you. And you just
Right.
need someone to talk to, wherein you can't talk to a family member or you don't have anybody to talk to about it. Uh, to seek mental health so you can find somebody that you feel like you can trust to let out what you are experiencing at that moment or childhood trauma. It could be a number of things. And there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with mental health now to seek help like it was back in the day. But let's before I do wrap it up, you have a GoFundMe page. Could you tell me more about the GoFundMe?
Yes,
What?
so I wrote a book. It took me 9 years to write, called Savannah Jackson Out of the Ashes. That's not the only thing I've been through. That's probably the worst thing that I've been through. So I've teamed up with I Inspire Productions, which Tamika Allen is the director. She has been trained under Rain Pryor, which is Richard Pryor's daughter. Lim, I believe his name is Lim with Tyler Perry Studios and a couple of, oh yeah, Thelma from Good Times, Bernadette Stanton. She's trained under them. She's also won a an award for the Sarah Bartman short film. Actually, she won that award in Paris, France. So I'm aiming to get a movie made. Of course, this is going to be a BL. What we talked about tonight will be a BLM scene or police brutality scene. And I'm asking everybody to go and support $1, $2, $3, $5. Every little bit helps. We're working on phase one. Phase one is getting the script, the movie script. And I think we're about $1,000, a little over $1,000 shy of getting that, being able to get that done.
Okay, so you're asking people to donate $1, $2, or
I'm
whatever.
asking y'all to support in any way that you can.
So what I did was link to her GoFundMe page in the comment area. If you're interested in helping her, you're more than welcome to do that.
And if you want to be a sponsor, we have $100 slots. And once we got all the funds, we will shout out your name on social media platforms, pretty much advertise. The $500 sponsorship is the promoting of your business on social media sites. Your name, your company name or organization will be in the movie credits. And for $1,000, you get all of that plus 2 tickets to the big screen when this is ready to go. I'm believing it. God ain't never let me down, so I'm believing that you guys will help as well.
Right. Well, thank you for coming on. This is my phone ringing in the background. So I'm trying to stop that from going off. But I do appreciate you coming on. Um, and I do want to get with you. We can do this a little later to come back on and let's talk about mental health. And you said you've gotten treatment, and how did that go? And what was the good part of mental health, and what was the bad part of mental health, to enlighten people.
Yes, absolutely.
I definitely want to do a part 3, uh, power over pain. And we all can seek power over the pain that we've endured in our life.
Let's do it. We got to take power of pain.
Thank you for coming on, and we'll chat later. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. You all have a good night.
Good night.